I think I'm live. All right. Nice.
This might end up just being kind of loud.
Twitch requires additional permissions to send messages. Cool.
This is gonna make it difficult to do
Nice.
that.
So I think we're good. I think I'm up here too. What's difficult?
Or I wonder if can I just mute you here, and I will unmute you in Discord. Yeah, that's what I'll do. That's better. I'm the way that I'm managing my music audio. When I am turning it down, it was turning you down with it.
Gotcha.
So I was just trying to find a workaround for this.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
good now,
because I
though.
was coming through desktop audio, I assume.
Yo, what up, Keith? Love you too, brother.
Keith.
You stick around for the Etheria tier
Oh,
list.
this is Keith?
You can actually, yeah, Keith.
Ignit.
Ignat, yeah.
Mister, I can
he
jump in
can
the
stick.
assistant, huh?
He knows where the stream's at.
yeah.
Veteran streamer gets priority.
That's fair. That's fair. You know. Okay.
Nah, it's all good.
Cool.
Sweet. Keith can watch. Learn some stuff about Etheria. Maybe you'll get excited and play
Yeah,
this.
maybe. Doubt it because he doesn't have a brain. But
second,
it's kind of
second question.
Yeah.
That you probably won't know. Is there a way for us to do this tier list, like share it?
The only way that I could think of sharing it would be like through screen share, right? Like on Discord. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I really don't know either. We'll probably just have to kind of do this.
Yeah, we'll just talk it, and I guess
fuck the bald guy. Yeah, fuck the bald guy.
Hey, yo, chill.
Oh,
smooth brain. I don't want smooth brain viewers, anyways. That was a clean cut you put on your Snapchat, though.
Oh, it wants me to select my ad blocker if I do this. Yeah, it doesn't like it.
All right, I got an idea. Well, yeah, I guess it doesn't really help, does it? Yeah, I don't.
Let me do it anyway.
I don't know if we can both somehow get on here at the same
time. No,
we
can't. It's fine. It's fine. Let's just run it.
Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna put in here great everywhere
for your S.
Yeah.
All right.
Great in PvP. Let's do PvE because I don't want people to think that PvP is more important. Great in PvP.
So you're doing great in PvP?
First? PvE first, then PvP. And then doo-doo trash can.
Bad, and the very bottom will be trash can.
I'm gonna put doo-doo trash can and can't speak on them because I don't know. Because there will be some that I just don't have any clue because I didn't get to play them in the beta. So
how did you add one?
I didn't have to.
How did you add?
I didn't have to. But
see, I had bad and then I had trash can, so
but if you click on the cogwheel, you can add a row below.
It's fine. I got it.
Yeah. Actually, I am gonna
So great
change.
everywhere, great PVE, great PvP, trash, or can't speak on.
Uh,
I'm gonna make another
I'm
one
actually
below
gonna
great in
change it.
PvP called
Mm-hmm.
just mid.
Okay.
I'm gonna make one just called mid.
Sure. I changed the second two to
There's some that I
PVE
feel like are gonna be
focused.
like okay, but not great.
Okay. I changed it to focused instead of great. And then I'll add a row
That's good.
above. We'll make it
That's actually smart.
this color, I guess. And we'll call this mid. Okay. Yeah, I just don't want people to get the wrong idea if they hop in here and they're like, "Oh, Senpai said this. He's an idiot."
Yeah,
So
I get it.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I guess let's kick it off. I think the best part, I think we either start at the top or the bottom here. We either start with what's great everywhere, or we just start with the ones that we can't say anything about.
yeah. Let's start with. Let me get the other thing pulled up here so I don't botch the names. Did I delete it?
Yep.
Twitch create. Okay, well apparently I deleted it, so let me pull that back up.
You could always just pull it off the one you sent to me. I mean, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start with doing that because that isn't obvious. We right off rip are just gonna put Messiah just great everywhere because he is
He
just great
is.
everywhere.
He is great
And
everywhere.
even in Union Boss, where he is
Te-
a step below, he is still good. So
Yep, that would be correct. So I think the easiest ones. Well, so he's good right now. I don't think he's gonna be good forever.
yeah, I mean
I think the
we got a preference on the fact that everything we're saying is based on beta play.
right. Everything's based on beta play, and the other part of it is like, can you get to the end level? Can you beat the end levels with this character? Right. So like the Infernos, the Hell Fours, like can you do the end game PVE content with that character? And how viable are they off the rip? How easy are they to build? Right. I think all that kind of stuff plays into whether or not a character is great for the average player. Um, Great thing about Messiah,
I don't think we could. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I played Messiah in the beta, right? Um, and I know you can get really far. You're probably not gonna do any like speed clears with Messiah in PvE. Um, but you're gonna be able to do um, the best thing he has going for him, in my opinion, as a damage dealer in PvE specifically, is that he's neutral to everything. Um, so you don't have to swap him out for somebody else based on the content that you want to do. Um,
yeah. I think that's a very fair way to put it. I'm trying not to take into account like skill level at all, because I think that at least in my view, I'm going on this tier map based on the character's capabilities, not based on the player. Right? I got to take this
yeah,
as if you're the most capable player, top 10 world, is this character fit in that category kind of thing?
right. I think that's totally fair. Um, and I think for the most part, he can be played by anyone. He is kind of, I mean, he's your
Yes,
typical
he's
DPS,
just
right?
all
I'm gonna
around.
click S3, then I'm gonna click S2, and then I'm gonna click S1, and I'm gonna repeat on cooldown, right? Like that's just there's no real thought to
Yes.
what he does. You just click big damage and move on. Where the like
Yep. The only thing is like
complexity comes is when you
maybe
add
in
other
game the only
characters.
like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like the only thing is maybe in game you're gonna be like yeah, you're gonna do like type targeting with him. That's like I think the most extensive and difficult thing you're gonna do with him. Which
Yeah.
is, I mean, let's be honest, that's the first thing you learn in the game. So
Yeah. Yes and no.
other than that, like you hit it on the head. You're just gonna go 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 3, 2, 1. 3 is an AoE, so it doesn't matter. 2 is going to go into the biggest threat, and that's player dependent on if you can analyze what the biggest threat on the enemy team is. And then S1 is just
Yep.
same thing, right? Who are we going to go into? Because at least as of right now, there's no. I think there's one character in the whole game that pushes when they get attacked. Um, and so like that one character you wouldn't want to S1 into unless you had to, but or you're gonna kill. So yeah, like you said, his gameplay is not very nuanced, PvE or PvP. So, but he's good everywhere, right? He's one of the only damage dealers, like pure damage dealers in the game, and he's probably the best because of his light uh, type.
Yeah, I think light dark are probably the strongest in the game, at least from the amount that I played.
Mm-hmm.
Just because obviously they only have one weakness, and that's the opposite typing.
Right.
Um,
Oh
oh,
man.
which I guess the other ones all only technically have one weakness as well. However, I would say that light dark play better against the other three, like triangle elements than
Mm-hmm.
they do vice versa. I don't know what your experience was, but I found like doing a light type against a fire type is better than vice versa.
Right. Um, it should be neutral, I think. The only time you um, really suffer is when you're doing the triangle, and that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's enough on Messiah. I
Yep.
don't really have any big
Yep. I
arguments
think that's
there.
fine on Messiah. We don't need to beat a dead horse there. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do I think he's the best unit in the game and you should prioritize your reroll for him? Absolutely not. So that's kind of where you got to be careful with the tier list that we're doing. This is not, oh, Messiah's here. I'm going to reroll and pull Messiah because, you know, Senpai and the assistant said he's the best character in the game. That's not the case. So we can maybe kind of order these a little bit in their row. If you want to re-roll for Messiah, if you're re-rolling, um, feel free. Just know that there are other characters that can do what he does. It's just going to be a little bit more dependent, right? Leanne is not going to do as much damage to, um, I don't know, Ling Lo as Messiah would because of the type disadvantage. But um, she could do more damage to um, Romoka, right? So it just kind of depends. But there are other characters that do things better. Um, Leanne can do the same job, and if you're gonna run
Yes.
Terramaton, Leanne can do the same thing that Messiah can. Um, Now, can Leanne do that in Doki Doki? No, no, she cannot. But there are Romoka can, right? So he makes the reason that we put him here is because he makes your account easier to progress. Um,
Yes. And before we get too far into this too, I will say, and I mean anyone that's played a gotcha should know this, and especially with Etheria, is that just because you see it's an SSR doesn't mean it's going to be great, right?
yeah,
Don't
there's some bad ones. There's some
yeah,
really bad
don't
ones.
just be you should not be throwing any of these characters into your lineup just because it's gold and it's shiny and it looks nice and whatever. There are some bad ones, right? Leanne, for example, as we already talked about, some is great early game, great for some of that PVE content, and could carry you through like the story for the most part. But
She's
uh,
even pretty good at
don't just keep her
PvP.
on your team and get hard stuck with her. Yeah, but
Well, so
Yes.
the
Yes,
yeah,
it can be. Yeah, but don't just I'm just saying don't get stuck with her, right? Cuz she
yeah.
at least in the beta was the free pull that you
Well,
get. Don't just keep her around just because it's an SSR.
well, you have to be careful.
It may not fit your lineup.
Right. Uh, now we're getting really nuanced here. So you have to build
Yeah.
Leanne at some point, um, because the game basically forces you to do it through their achievements. And then after you're done with her, once you've progressed to a point where you don't need her, you can um, you can recall and get all of the materials back that you used on her. So you're gonna have to build her, which is why, again, I don't necessarily recommend Messiah as the top choice, because you're gonna get Leanne for free. You're gonna have to build her for the achievements, and you might as well use her where you can until you at least complete Leanne's portion of the achievements, and then if you at that point want to move on, feel free. I did in the beta. I don't think it's wrong or right to do it either way personally. I there was just other characters that I wanted to build to that strength level because I prioritized content that Leanne wasn't necessarily good at. I prioritized Doki Doki um, and Aurora, and I'm probably going to do the same thing um, in the live version. Um,
Yeah. All right. We can move on. I know we're getting really nuanced. Let's just go ahead and throw the
yeah.
next one out there. I don't know
Uh,
what you're feeling here.
okay, so my personal take. There's two characters that are great everywhere, and these are the two characters that you should reroll. So let's just do them at the same time. I think they're the two best characters in
Okay.
the game. Um, and if you're gonna reroll, you should reroll for one or both of them, and that's Heinrich and Lily. Um,
Heinrich and Lily, huh? Okay.
yeah. So these are LD5s, right? Just like Messiah, but different roles really. So Messiah Messiah is a jack of all trades character. I personally feel like Messiah is the best character in the game. A lot of people would probably disagree with that. But Messiah works in every single piece of content in the game, and so does Lily. But um, like he is the top tier debuffer. He amps damage. He strips buffs. He blocks healing, and he there's one other one I think. Damage, buffs. Oh yeah, and he strips. So he does basically everything that you want. And if you build a comp around him, I mean, he can literally carry you until at least the mid game, if not all the way into Inferno difficulty PVE. He's amazing in PvP. He's one of the only strippers in the game. That alone makes him valuable in PvP. And he's not slow. So speed is king in PvP for the most part. The reason that you'll hear a lot of people, not everyone, say that you should farm Doki Doki right away is because speed set is universally the easiest set to put on to characters. There's not, it's not bad on any character, usually, and that's the case with this game too. So it's easiest to get your account going on speed gear and then build out from there. Um, and he's amazing at Doki Doki. So yeah, I mean, if you build him right, like just for an example, if you were to put him on the same team as somebody we'll talk about later, which is Marvel, you can build him straight damage, which is what I did, and and he will get all the benefits of having a bunch of accuracy because Marvel will put the resistance down on the enemy, and so now he's just doing everything. He's buffing team through debuffs and stripping opponents and doing big damage. He doesn't do the most damage. He's not the best damage dealer. He's not the best debuffer. Um, but he does everything well. And I I'm gonna pull for one of these two, if not try to get both on an account.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I personally, I just because I didn't play with Heinrich a whole lot in beta, I will probably be rolling for Lily hard. I think Lily will be my main pull that I am trying to go for. Like you said, just great all around, great support, can fit into pretty much any comp that you want to throw her into, PvE or PvP. That'll be my number one role if I can get her.
Yeah, Lily is great. She's gonna basically be on every. She can be on pretty much every team, if not every single team, in PvE stuff. Getting you to the highest difficulties, getting you through the highest difficulties. She's the only character in the game that has an assist mechanic, and it's 100% if you level it all the way up. She's the second fastest character in the game, I'm pretty sure. So in PvP, I mean, she can race people if you need to. Her ult is insane, extending cooldowns by a turn. Yeah, she's really, really good. She's a do-it-all character. The, what is it, hat trick, or what's that buff she gives her teammates? I think it's hat trick.
Oh yes, I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, slap that on your
It's
damage
just
dealer.
yeah.
Give speed buff. I mean, your team is zooming. She's amazing. She really is.
Yeah, it's hat trick.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I just pulled it up. It is hat trick that we're thinking of.
And if for some reason the game
Or is it?
somehow lasts long enough to fight,
Yeah.
she puts a crit damage amp on a character. She's insane.
Yep.
She's gross.
Switching gears a little bit, just to space out and not do all the SSRs at once.
Yeah.
I want to talk about preferably, and I know me and you have already had this conversation. I want to talk about Marvel,
Yeah, Marvel. Okay.
specifically in PvP. Marvel and PvP.
Okay.
PvP focused for sure.
Mm,
In my opinion, obviously I didn't play as much as PvP as you did, but in my time playing him in PvE, usable, viable for sure. But I'd say he's only mid in PvE. I'd say he's pretty much like A tier PvP, just for
really?
turn moves. No,
I would
I think for
I
turn
would say
moves,
the inverse.
he's great. You
I
think that he's more PvE focused?
I think this character goes either here at the top of the chain, or he's third.
So I can't see your screen, by the
Yeah,
way.
that's right.
You're gonna have to call these
I
out.
forgot. So I think he either goes above Heinrich or after Lily.
Really, you think he's just great everywhere?
Oh yeah, for sure. He's on all of the all of he's in almost every single PvE content late game team that you can imagine. Almost everyone.
Mm.
The only ones he's bad at is the ones you can't manipulate turn order. But you can cheese bosses so unbelievably easy with him that, I mean, he makes some of the content irrelevant. Now is
So
he good really
hot
early?
take.
Mm-hmm.
So hot take here. I was going to caveat this after the fact, and my reasoning for putting him in PvP focused over the grade everywhere
Yeah.
is in PvE. I liked Kraken more because of typing.
Both. Use them both.
Oh, so that's interesting. I did not. I prioritized having a spread of types, obviously depending on content you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but generally would spread I try to have a decent spread on typing, and so I ran Kraken more than I was running him in PvE.
Yeah.
and I
It
was kind of swapping them out back and forth.
it there is again there is some content that he's not good at. I can't remember exactly which boss doesn't. Hey, how's it going, Destroyer? Um, oh man, I lost my train of thought. Some of the content, some of the bosses, he can't push back, and so then you want to kind of avoid those bosses with him because he's going to be worthless space. And Kraken would be better. Because Kraken also does a pushback, but he can freeze. Um, the best part about so like let's just take Doki Doki for example. If you run Doki Doki at the
Yeah.
higher levels, you can push back with Marvel first, then you run Kraken and you freeze everybody to get the damage amp, and then you can run Lily, you can run um, usually it's good to have like a buffer. So like my Doki Doki team had a pretty cracked beta account, but I had those two, and then I had Heinrich as a debuffer and damage amp. I had Messiah as my main DPS, and then the last slot was dependent on what I needed for whichever level of difficulty I was doing. Um, and so basically, um, Marvel would push everybody back and lower their res. Kraken would come in, freeze everybody, amp my damage, and then Heinrich would go, amp damage, amp my crit chance and damage, right? Because Heinrich makes it easier for you to build characters, so I only needed like 50% crit chance on my Messiah. Then my Messiah would go, and he would ult, and he'd either kill everybody or not kill everybody, depending on where I'm at. But that's the essentially the cycle, and so he just steals turn meters, and I think he's better at boss content than he is at um, threshold content. So like the Teramaton, you can make the Teramaton just not move because he steals turn meter on his S1 and on his S3, so he just never gets a chance to move.
Mhm.
So I think PVE he's better. In PvP he's really good. He's really good in the beta, like arguably the best PvP unit in the beta, only because nobody really knows. There isn't an established meta yet, and so everyone's farming Doki Doki for speed gear, which they should, but they're ignoring Aurora and getting immunity sets. The more people flesh out their builds and they start getting to that upper content where they can have 8 Swift Rush, 8 I don't even remember the upper level ones, but there's like Swift Attack. It gives you 15% 15% speed, 20% attack, and then 8 Bulwark. You can go 888, and then all of a sudden now you're fast, you hit hard, and you're immune for the first turn. So uh, now he's just useless. Not too bad, Destroyer. How are you? What's going on?
Okay. So you're throwing them great everywhere, probably below Heinrich, above Lily.
No, I Heinrich and Lily are interchangeable to me. I think he's probably one step below those two, though. It's I can see the argument for making him better though than those. He's gonna get nerfed. I almost guarantee. Do I think he needs a nerf? No, but I almost guarantee he gets nerfed.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Since we talked about Kraken, we can move on to him next. Where are you putting Kraken in your list?
Kraken.
Right. So obviously we said that you can run them both,
Mm-hmm.
but what? Yeah, but I don't think he's a great everywhere character.
Um.
He's just not.
Yeah. Let's.
PVE wise, he's just not. He's just not an everywhere character. Obviously, Doki Doki is great. PvP is great.
Mm.
becomes very mid on some of the other stuff.
Yeah. Let's circle back real quick. Destroyer wants to know.
Okay.
Um, Destroyer wants to know. He has a gripe with Messiah. He says he's too much, has invincibility, and he can potentially one shot you. Um, yeah. So, Destroyer, I'm glad you're doing well, man. Um, but yeah, the big thing with Messiah right now, he feels really strong. He ignores 70% defense, and the invincibility is really annoying. Uh, so the way that you're gonna beat Messiah most of the time is you either tank down, right? Um, and you do oh, what's her face? Uh, Tiamat, you do Tia, right? And you just run double healer Tia, and you just tank down really hard. Um, or I guess there's technically three ways. You can just ban him, right? Um, but if you're talking about Etherina, obviously you can't do that. Then the other way is to just outspeed, which is a lot harder to do than the tank down method. Um, but Messiah's weakness is that he can be controlled. He's weak to the control stuff. So I, I'm not the best player in the world. I'm not claiming to be. I did get top 60 in ETH Arena, and I had a 90% win rate um, in real time arena. And I didn't really have a problem. If I didn't get Messiah, it wasn't that big of a deal to me because I could just control him down. Because usually you're not going to build speed on Messiah, right? You're gonna build slow, and you're gonna build crap ton of attack, crap ton of damage. And so if you can just control him with characters like Kraken, with characters like Marvel, um, then you should be good. You can even block his invincibility with Heinrich, right? So as long as you can control him, he's not as bad. But I agree, he does do a lot of damage, and if you can't control him or you can't tank down, he can be hard to deal with for sure. Where would you
Yeah,
put
and
Messiah
obviously that's how it's
in your tier list, Destroyer? Yeah,
and
no
mind you,
problem.
like we are talking about the beta
Thanks for
here.
coming
I think a
in.
lot of these are going to get a I think a lot of these are going to get a rework. I do think Messiah will probably get a nerf
You think so?
come live.
Oh man, I
I
don't
think he
know.
probably will. I don't think it's going to be anything. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, but I personally think he's going to get a nerf because you got to think of the statistics. You know, speaking from a developer's point of view,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're going to be they're going to be looking at analytics and statistics more than anything, and his pick rate and his win rate are going to be two things that they're looking at across the board on all these characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is being picked, how often, and what areas, what are the win rates with them, and I don't know their analytics as far as what they're looking at exactly, but I would assume they're probably looking at move set usage as well. What moves are getting popped in what orders, how often, things like that. I don't know. From a speaking coding developer side, you want to get as granular as you can on some of these things to see it, and I think they're going to see that Messiah's pick rate is very large, his win rates are very good, and people are just aiming 3-2-1 on him for the most part, um, which are all just indications that he's very strong. So I don't know if he'll get anything massive, but I just based on stats, I think he'll probably get a nerf of some sort.
I wouldn't
Um,
I wouldn't mind
I could
seeing his
be wrong though.
defense. So I got 2 points to that. One, I personally would like to see his defense pen maybe nerfed a little bit, maybe 50%, right? Um, but they're not. I don't think they're going to nerf him, and the reason is he's the featured LD character at launch. They're not going to nerf the character that's
Yeah,
going to
so
make them the most
that
money.
that is the
They're just not
caveat.
going to do it. It is a
Yeah,
gotcha game.
he is the yep, it's a gotcha, and he is the poster boy for launch. So I mean, you make a fair point there. we'll see though. If he isn't getting one pre-launch, I think soon after launch he gets some sort of a nerf. Like you said, probably to damage pin or defense pin.
Yeah. Okay. So Kraken next, right? And you think he's PvP focused? No.
Kraken. So I think he's more PvP focused. And my reasoning for that is I think PvE the only time you're running him is Doki Doki. So I would say across the board between his usages in PvP and PvE, you're running him in PvP. You're running him in arenas way more often than you're going to run him in PvE. And really, the only times that I would see myself run him in PvE was Doki Doki because he's so strong against her.
Hmm. Um. I
Not saying that he isn't viable in PvE, just saying that his main focus, in my opinion, what 90% of people are going to run him, you'll see him way more often in the PvP.
um. Yeah, I would probably agree with you. For Kraken, Destroyer, you don't need Doki Doki, for Kraken. Um, he's gonna take a lot of investment. I would agree. I would agree with the assistant. He is a PvP focused character for sure. Um, Prioritizing his skill ups is huge, right? Because it's gonna take his, I think, 5 turn cooldown on his ult to a 4 turn. And then the other so yeah, not reliant on Doki, but he is reliant on a team, right? Um, the only reason he's good in Doki Doki is because of that freeze at answer damage. Um, and so yeah, and then in PvP, it really only takes one freeze to win in PvP. Um, and so you don't necessarily have to worry about the cooldown. The cooldown is for Doki Doki so that you can get to that second wave, right? You want, once you hit that second wave, you want to have your freeze up again to freeze the second wave, immediately, right? And so it does take a little bit of tuning by your team to make sure that you have the right speed and you have the right, cycle so that his ults back up. Ideally, you want it back up as soon as the next phase starts. Um, but you could feasibly get away with like 1 turn of the second wave, and then he better be ulting, or you're probably gonna fail to run. Um, even still, there are better characters technically for Doki Doki for the role that he plays. So yeah, I would absolutely agree with the assistant. He is primarily PvP focused, and he's really focused on a player that wants to play control, right?
For sure. All right, so those are those. So we've talked about a lot of the big ones so
Hmm.
far. Where would you go from here? I know there's a couple characters that I want to talk about, but
Yeah.
I want to hear where you
Well,
would go next.
let's just talk about Leanne since she's the free character, right? Let's talk about her.
Yep, that's fair.
I think it's really easy. I think she's great everywhere. Um, but here's the thing, right? She's gonna phase out. In my opinion,
Hmm.
you're building Leanne to get the all of the materials she gets for the achievements, and then she isn't needed anymore. If you want to keep her, you can. You're not gonna like gimp your account by keeping her by any means. Um, but I don't think she's needed. And if you want to move her resources into another character, you could totally get away with doing that. Um, Now that that would probably require you to like gear another character to take the place of things that she's good at, because you're probably relying on her for Teramaton, and you're probably relying on her in PvP in some capacity. Um, So, take her as far as you can. Um, invest
Yeah.
invest to get
The
the achievements, and then once you're done with her stuff, make an educated decision based on your account. What content are you trying to do, right? If I'm trying to do Doki and Aurora, by the time I finish Leanne's stuff, I'm probably gonna drop all of. I'm probably gonna reset her and use that for other characters that are good at those content areas, because those are what I want to farm, right? Um, that's kind of my take on her. I think she's really good. She's great to get you going, but I don't think she's needed. Probably after, depending on how fast you can get her achievements done, day 2, day 3, maybe the first week, at most.
Yeah, so I know beta. You mentioned it, and even in beta, I know you reset her and got those materials back. At least in live, I don't think I'm going to do that because if you look at, I mean, mind you, we're just speculating based because we don't know what characters are going to come out in the next banners and things like that. But based on current characters that we are seeing, and we know what the first banner is, she is the only reason type, the only red type DPS, the only one that is viable. She's obviously the only SSR. There's no reason type DPS SR characters.
Mm-hmm.
There's debuff sustains and supports, but there's no DPS red types. So then you're looking, down to characters that you're probably not running at all. I mean, let's just be honest, you're not running the other ones in anything even close to late game. So Leanne is really your only option in that area for that's very niche specific content, and the game obviously pushes you to build her. So I'm just gonna keep it.
Yeah, I
That's
don't.
just my view. Is that she fits a very niche pocket that can't be filled by anyone else really, even though it may not be super necessary. But for that reason, I will hold on to it and just work through whatever else I need to work through.
Yeah, I like I
And
said, I
it's a
don't think you
gotcha.
could.
So if that involves spending money to build the other characters, then it involves spending money to build the other characters.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get asked that, the spending questions and stuff like that, at some point, but I would rather not talk about it until it gets asked. But I
Yeah, it's
I
fair.
really
That's
don't
fair.
think you could go wrong either way. I really don't. I think that's a perfectly viable option. Destroyer, I'm with you, man. I'm going to complete her achievements, and I'm probably going to dump her as soon as I can. It will depend on what I get, what I have, but a lot of this. Let's just take Termaton for example, because that's like her primary PVE application. Um, you can invest all of that into um, deeding or what's this guy's name? What's the robot's name again?
Oh, you talk
Um,
Victor. You're talking about
Victor.
Victor?
Yeah, Victor. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
take those
Victor's
resources,
great.
put them into either of those two, and you will clear faster and more consistently. Um, my a buddy in my union had the second fastest clear time on what was it? Oh, what's her name? Nico Nana, and he used deeding, and it was like, I think it was 15 seconds. He cleared it on Hell 4 or Hell whatever it is right before Inferno. Um, 15 seconds with a
Yeah,
SR
it's
character.
wild.
Um, I don't know. He said he was gonna try to do some on Termaton, see how fast he could clear that. But I mean, the point is, if it's a single target boss, um, or one big boss that
There
you can kind
are
of ignore
is
the
better
ads,
options.
you can just build somebody else to do obviously way better. In my
Yeah.
opinion. They might take a little bit more investment than what you probably put into your Leanne up to that point, but as far as like the materials go to get them to 6 star, you could literally do that and then slap on your best gear, and they'll perform better than she will in those two
Mhm.
categories. So then you're pretty much just left with PvP, and I guess I would say if you don't have a good DPS for PvP, you probably should keep her until you have one. Um,
For sure, absolutely. If you don't get the roles that you need on the banners, then you should be holding on to her. That's, I mean, without it, I mean, yeah, that's just blatant.
cool.
Um,
Yeah, who do you want to talk
Next one
about?
I want to roll in. So the next one I want to roll into, and probably one of my favorite characters that I played in beta is Deeding. Right, I loved him. Single target. He was great, super fun. Obviously, I played more of the PVE content than the PvP. Um, Super useful,
Mm-hmm.
super fun to play. I mean, he just looks cool. And I think that he's a character that a lot of people are going to roll and get pretty easily. Most people will have him, they'll have multiples of them, so he'll get boosts. However, like you said, at least I don't think he has played much PvP. You would know more. I think he's probably more of a PvE focused character than the PvP side. Mainly just because of like automaton or terramaton, like you were saying. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, he's like super focused for that. Just that
Yep.
single target acquisition stuff. I don't know if he has played much PVE or PvP. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I'd put him as a PVE focused character for sure, and a good one.
Mm-hmm. No, that's 100% accurate. He's got a niche. He does it really well. He's not really competing with any SSR units for his niche right
Hmm.
now. We'll see what happens with Hoyen when she comes back. If she comes back with the release, I hope she does because she's my
Yeah,
favorite design character. But um,
if she comes back, I think that he gets knocked out of the way, in my opinion, in my line, if I can get her.
mhm,
Like you said, obviously that comes down to rolls on banners, and because you're only gonna have so many rolls within that first week or two, and so it's not like you're gonna have all of these characters available to you,
yeah,
and you're probably gonna roll some that you don't want.
absolutely. Um, yeah, I think he's good. I don't know that she'll necessarily knock him down. It kind of depends on again what you want to farm and what her because they're completely redoing her kit, right? So we don't even know what she's gonna
It's
do.
it's true.
Um,
That's true.
so she could fill a similar role, but she is the green type. I apologize. I don't know all the types by names yet. I just fire, grass, water, light, and dark usually. But she is a green character, and she, at least prior to the change, was a single target DPS, probably primarily focused for PvP. I didn't play the any of the other betas, um, so I don't know. I never got a chance to play with her, but um, yeah, I she'll have, if she stays similar, she'll have roles with like the LD bosses, but Aurora she can't do, and Nico Nana she can't do. Um, so
Mm.
those two right there give you a reason to keep playing Deeding, even if she does fill a similar role. I think the
Yeah,
primary
that's
competitor to Deeding though is um, oops, Victor. I think they fill the exact same role. I think they're literally like the same character, but just handle it in a slightly different way. Um, and so I think between those two, I think you're just picking whichever one you like more, and investing into them.
yeah. So I know you played some Victor. I didn't play Victor because I played Deeding, and I just put my resources into him rather than into Victor.
Yep.
That's just kind of how I manage that. So where are you putting Victor? You just putting him with Deeding? Do you think he's more viable PvP?
I mean, if I was being really technical, I'd probably put him over Deeding. He does have the faster clear times. Um, typically, but I don't think. I mean, that could be gear gap, right? You're talking about
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 seconds. That could literally be a gear gap. Um, so
Did you
yeah, I think they're
see much
interchangeable.
PV? Did you
P-
see much PvP play with Victor?
there were some tourneys with him in there. Like if you're, I would be careful with these single target fighters. Uh, in the vein that you need to know who to prioritize, right? Um, now, AOE right now there's no punishment really for AOE or AOE attackers other than like Viper. Viper is a good example of a punisher for AOE attackers. But for the most part, there isn't a huge um, disadvantage to just picking an AOE nuker and going off from there. Um, and so, really, I think you're just better suited to pick a defense breaker or some sort of damage buff, pick a nuker, and just try to nuke the whole team or 3/4 of the team, and then you can't lose, right? Um,
Hmm.
but as the game progresses and you're able to like kind of identify who the threats are and if you can take those out, then these single target characters, these SSRs that do a crap ton of single target damage, will become better. Um, I think both of them are heavily reliant on Lily. Personally, I think if you don't have Lily, they're gonna work at like 50% capacity.
Yeah, being single target, they definitely are team reliant. They need that support. You cannot just throw them in wherever and have it work. They they need those buffs to
Yeah.
really bring out the potential. They need the buffs. So next one I would like to talk about would be Gray, just because I know obviously everyone's gonna have Gray.
Yep. Another free character, not a bad one to talk about.
Yep.
Um, Gray. Gray's a little difficult. Um, I personally didn't use Gray at all. I think
So
Gray. I think Gray is mid personally.
that's no, I agree. That's what I was gonna say. I think he can be very useful if you want to use him. If you want to spend the time into building him, absolutely, he's usable, not a problem. Um,
Hmm.
but I do think that if you get, if you're rolling and you have some of these other characters that you can build much better comms, none of which are really going to involve Gray. I think he fits into most places well. You can exchange him out for a lot of the other characters, which makes him very versatile. But he's just kind of mid, right? He's not bad. He's not good. He fits into places, but there's a lot of other characters that do everything that he does just better.
Yeah, I would agree. I
I don't
think
think there's a
right.
lot to say about him. He's just,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, he's
his
just
best
mid.
niche is Doki Doki, and um,
Yeah,
if you have multiple speed sets, if you're really fast on on at least two characters, let's say you have two good speed sets, and you could make him your second fastest character. He has some PvP applications. I don't think, but outside of that, I don't think again. There's just other characters that can do something similar in his role, and some of them do them better, and some of them are worse.
hmm
Um, but yeah, I mean, you could if you like Gray, you could certainly build around him and make him work, especially in Doki Doki.
for sure. All right. So who do we go to next? Who do we want to pick out next?
let's do the other. Let's do Freya and let's do Linglo. Um, We should probably like speed this up a little bit. We're kind of lagging a little
Yeah,
bit, but
I know we've been dragging on and just conversing a lot.
yeah,
It's kind of
it's
hard not to. There
yeah,
is a lot
it's
to
fun.
cover. Like, yeah.
I think it'll get easier as we go because there's gonna be a lot of characters that I just didn't look at, didn't play, didn't do anything with.
Yeah, a ton of these characters I just didn't get a chance to play, which is unfortunate. So we can't say a whole lot on them,
Hmm.
but we'll just speak on the ones we can speak on.
Yeah. So let's do Linglo first. I think she's the easier of the two to place, and she's great everywhere. Um,
Hmm.
so free character, which is great. Arguably the best healer in the game. And she's one of the only sources of immunity, which is super important. Especially in PvP. If you're trying to tank down and run dual healer, required. She is required. So is oh, I can't think of her name right now, but um, Linglo fits on basically every comp of every single piece of content. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the content is. Doesn't matter if she has a type disadvantage. She's still a good healer for that piece of content.
Yep. All right. So where are you putting her, and then we'll move on to the next.
Yeah, I'm gonna put her in great everywhere. I just put her behind Leanne. She's better than Leanne, but she's free, so um, when you get her, build her.
Yeah. Yep. That's fair. All right. So Freya next.
Yeah, Freya is a little more difficult for me. I I kind of have a love hate relationship with Freya. Um, I think she is like I could see arguments for mid, and I could see arguments for great everywhere. She is used on a lot of the hardest difficulty threshold content and boss content. She does a lot of things, and she does a lot of things well, but she doesn't do. She's not the best at any of those things really. Um, I did rotate her in on my PvP team when I felt like she was applicable, right? But it wasn't. It wasn't like she wasn't a Heinrich or a Marvel in PvP where I was just like, I'm gonna slam these two and I'm gonna run you over. Um, a lot of times, what
Yeah.
I would do is I would pick her into Kraken. So, if, for example, if I got into a draft and I um, first pick Marvel, they second pick Kraken plus whatever else, doesn't really matter. Then I would, if as long as they left Freya open, I would probably slam Freya from there, um, just so that I could prevent that freeze on my team. I think that's her. I personally think that's her best application. Is to kind of counter control a little bit. I think a lot of people are upset with her. I would like to see a change in her kit. I'd like to see her just become a pure cleanser. But that's kind of my preference, just because there's a lack of cleansers in the game. I think that would go a
Yeah.
long way for her.
Yeah. I mean, you hit on a lot of things that I kind of thought. I would place Freya mid, just in my opinion. I think she's kind of hit and miss. I don't think she's bad. Um, but I do think there's picks I would pick over Freya.
Yeah, I'll say this much. I think her banner is bait. I think
Yes.
you're throwing your account if you pull on her if you're not a whale.
Yep. 100%. She is not worth your pulls. At least not in the beginning.
Yep. But you won't
When
be
once you
mad. But
get
you won't be mad if you get her in your permanent summon, right?
no, yeah, like permanent summon if you get her, like great. Like I
Cool.
don't be upset about that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, don't go pull her banner.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
um, let's
Um.
knock some of these can't speak on them's out, and then we can kind of resume talking again, right? So I'll just say this: I don't know any of the 3-star characters. I did not play them. I
So I played number 41 some.
Okay.
She is a support, had some heals. I only played her just a very, very small amount just because I had her 5 starred out super quick, like within a banner pull or two on the
Mm-hmm.
permanent banner. Like it was like instantaneous. So I was like, all right, I'll throw her in and try it.
Is she
Um,
the gray haired one?
yeah, yeah, the gray hair, you can't see your eyes, they're cut
Yeah.
off.
Yep. Yep.
Wearing like a lab coat, yeah. Uh, I don't know. I don't want to say she's trash just because she's a 3 star, but I mean, you're not really gonna use her. I mean, super early game, if you 5 star her out, I wouldn't put a
Mm-hmm.
lot of resources into her, if any at all. But like, you want to play with her and have fun with her in the, in the story. Cool. She can kind of fit in as a support if you don't have a good support pull yet.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't think supports are even really needed in the story. Um,
They're not.
but yeah. Um,
Um.
but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I would honestly just put her at trash. I think most of all the the 3 stars are just going to be trash.
Yeah,
But
I will say in the tournament, and this is probably just because of a lack of diverse roster in the beta. In the one tournament that I watched, she did get used quite a bit with in conjunction with Tia. Um, so yeah, I think she's
I could see that. I
ultra
could see
trash
that.
can. I think she's trash can outside of Tia. But if you have Tia, it might put her in the bottom of mid.
Yeah, that's where I'd be at. I threw her in trash. I think you, like you said, if you have a Tia, depending on what you're going against, I mean, maybe you have an argument for her to be like the very bottom of mid, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it's trash. As far as the other just regular R character goes, I didn't play any of them. I think you're gonna get enough SR pulls, right? And you get a couple free SSRs, and you're gonna
Mhm.
get some in your pulls as long as you're pulling. I don't think you're gonna play any of these guys,
Right.
at least not at the moment.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. So I'm gonna throw most of them just into can't speak. Just because I didn't play them, I'm
Yep.
not gonna like shut them down for no reason. But
Yep.
that's just me.
No, I agree with you there. I again, I didn't play any of the 3 stars, so I can't really speak. But chat if you disagree with anybody, anything that we're saying, uh, please let us know. Let's have a discussion about it. Um. Okay. Um. So I'm just gonna move some of these 3 stars in because I really can't speak on them. Both the robots, the face mask guy, Catchy. Um,
Sybil, Vice, yeah, all those. I just threw into can't speak. I only threw number 41 into trash just because I did play her some and I have some info on her, and well, she's just trash to be frank.
right. Um, I'm probably missing another 3 star in here, but whenever I get to
Both
it, I
the
will.
robots, Andrew, Odd, and Reason, Asu, right? The black face mask, white hair, the full
Mm-hmm.
blue face mask, which is Vice,
Yep.
Sybil, Chachi, and number 41. Yeah, those are all of them.
Okay. Um, cool.
I'm gonna move up to SRs and see where would I go from here.
Yeah, I can put some of them in here, like the green dude. I didn't play the green dude in the. Uh, he's probably like,
Fangus,
yeah,
yeah, I didn't play him
Fangus.
either.
Didn't play him. Didn't play RC whatever his name 77. Is that what his name is? The blue guy with the hood.
Blue guy with the hood. Is he an SR?
He is an SR. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about I don't know how to say his name. He's a red type. He's got like the hat. The one you're talking about.
He's got a hood and goggles. His skin tone is blue.
Ooh.
On yours, he's Oh, you have him. You have him as a 3 star, but you already have him in not. He's your last one in
Oh,
can't
yeah, yeah,
speak.
yeah, that's a yeah, 3 stars, 3 stars. That's Vice.
Vice. I thought he was a four
Vice is
star.
his name. Nope, he is a 3 star. His name is Vice.
No, he's purple. He's an SR. He's RC
No, he's
77.
not.
Yes, he is. I'm looking at it
No,
right now.
I'm looking at it right now.
You're
He's an
wrong.
R. He's a blue character. It's
You're
Vice.
looking.
Look at my
You're looking.
stream.
You're looking at blue. You're looking at the blue mask guy, right in the middle of your can't speak. I'm talking. Oh, I'm looking at my own. Uh, duh. I'm dumb. No. RC77 is a hooded character. He has blue skin. He's not wearing a mask. He's wearing like a doctor's coat.
Oh, oh, oh,
He's a
oh,
blue
oh, oh.
SR
Okay,
unit.
I know who you're talking about now. This guy. Okay, okay, okay. My bad.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
you're good. I
confused.
I was looking at my
Not seeing,
stream and I
not
was
looking at
like,
yeah, not,
I was like,
not
dude,
looking
it's
at
right
your
there.
stream and just going based on mine. I was like super confused.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, can't speak on him. However, I don't think he was that good, just based
yeah. Yeah, I
on
don't think
like
he's
you
that
said,
good
like videos
either.
I've seen. But I don't know. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
one we haven't talked about, but I think we should while we have some time still.
Mm-hmm.
Rosa.
Rosa.
I don't
Okay.
want to skip over Rosa.
Yeah, let's talk
Um,
Rosa.
I would throw her in a grade everywhere based on what I've seen from her. Didn't get a chance to play her, unfortunately. Tried to pull her, couldn't pull her. Have seen a ton on her, watched a ton on her, seen other people play her. Rosa, I would say, is a grade everywhere. I would put her above Leanne.
Yeah.
She seems to perform well. She doesn't really have any downfalls. Puts out great damage. Obviously, having a support for buffs always helps, but I think even without him, she still performs well.
Mm-hmm.
Great character. If you get her pull, throw her in, use her. She's good.
Yeah, I. So Rosa was my selector for the beta. Don't didn't disappoint. Um, the thing with Rosa is she's not going to be good until you're farming probably outstanding gear. Um, at the very least, she definitely requires a good build to do good damage. Um, and so it's just going to take a lot of luck or a lot of farming to get her to where she can really carry you in the content on that you want her to carry you in. But that being said, once you have that gear, she's insane. She's absolutely insane. Does crazy amounts of damage, and is arguably the best in slot on certain content in PvE. In PvP, she's good. She's like if you have her built, she's okay. I think I didn't find myself picking her a whole lot unless I saw my opponents had double red. So usually, if they were like, if I'm gonna slam Leanne and Dinah, that's when I was like, okay, I can use. That's when I can use Rosa. Um, Granted, my Rosa was not. I did not invest too much into her. Um, but yeah, she definitely like she'll get you through a lot of PvE content that you probably shouldn't be
Hmm.
clearing when you're doing it. Um, so yeah, I would say I don't know that this tier is actually what we should probably call it because I don't think she's great everywhere necessarily. Um,
No, yeah, it's probably not the best name, but
yeah,
yeah, she's usable everywhere,
yeah,
and she doesn't perform. She's not bad.
yeah. We can kind of we can come back to these. Let's throw them in and kind of reorganize once we're done.
Yeah, and so I don't know about you, but I was gonna save this when we're done too, and revisit it a month from now.
Mm-hmm.
Or not a month from now, but a month after launch. Come back, revisit it,
Yeah.
restructure,
Mm-hmm. for sure.
and because by then hopefully we'll be able to say, speak on that we played most of these,
Hmm.
and give it a shot.
Absolutely.
So my poll, I did. I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong, right? I did the
Hmm.
Fox Girl. I did
Ziada.
Zada. Is that
Hmm.
Ziada? Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
exactly
So
sure,
I
but yeah.
pulled Ziada.
Hmm.
Um, I liked her. Obviously, I just liked her aesthetic. I thought she was cool looking, and I wanted to try her. I didn't know a whole lot about the game or the characters at the time. She was fun.
Hmm.
I don't think she's super. I mean, obviously, all these characters you can play everywhere, but I don't think she's super usable everywhere. I don't think she did anything particularly great. I think there's a lot of other picks, obviously, that are better than her. That being said, she's still viable. She's fun. If she's your cup of tea and you want to throw her in because she looks cool, you absolutely can do so. I'd throw her in mid.
Yeah, that's where I'd put her. I,
She's good, not great, mid.
yep, too hard to build. Um, she's
Yeah,
really good.
hard to build, and
She's got a similar problem to Rosa, where she just takes a lot of good gear and a lot of investment. You need to max her S3 and her S2, and so she just takes up too many resources for a similar payout to other characters.
yeah, I would agree. And I also kind of think that you need to put a team around her. Um,
Oh, for sure.
it's just another one of those characters that you can't just be like, well, this character's just great, so I'm just throwing. I can put them in on like any team and it'll kind of work. Her, you kind of need to fit her in where she fits in. You can't just throw her in anywhere. And I struggled after I pulled her for a while with that. Obviously, like you said, because I didn't have the gear built on her yet. I didn't really have a team comp around her, and so it made things difficult. But she was
Oh,
fun.
for sure. I think
She's cool.
I think Doki is required for if we want to talk about Doki requirements. Destroyer. I
Yes.
think Doki is required for Ziyada.
Yeah, we can talk about Doki next too if you want.
Yeah, we can talk about Doki. She seems to be a popular character.
Yep. Yeah, I mean we've mentioned her a ton, so we might as well go over.
Hmm.
I didn't get a chance to play Doki. I'm not sure if you did.
Yeah, I played her on my second account. Um,
Okay.
I think Doki is just mid. I think she's super overhyped. She's got a weird speed threshold for one. So you want to play her one of two ways: either the slowest on your team or the fastest. She's too slow to usually be your fastest character. I mean, you would have to have insane speed gear on her with multiple penta rolls into speed, I would imagine. So maybe we can sidetrack just a little bit very briefly. Your fastest characters, your openers, are probably going to hover around 300 to anywhere from probably like 290 to 315, I would say, depending on how lucky you get with your gear. That was not the case in the beta, but that's because nobody had time to like grind rolls, grind gear long enough to get to that point. There might have been a few, um, but my fastest character I think was 254 ish. And that was with not optimal gear. I did the math, and you should be able to get 300 on your faster characters, like 115 plus, pretty easy. Not easy, but I mean that's where you're gonna play them more than likely. Um, and she's just too slow to compete with that, in my opinion. So then you got to go. I mean, you can get around it a little bit, right? She doesn't have to be faster than the opponent if you run immunity on her and you have enough bulk. Um, but yeah, I don't know. She's just in a weird state. I thought she was pretty mid, and I don't think you're necessarily breaking your account if you re-roll for her. I just think you're gonna slow your progress down by prioritizing Doki.
Yeah. All very fair. Well
All right.
said.
um, cool. You just want to go left to right here. I have Beatin next.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, I think we should have the same ones
Okay,
left to right.
cool.
Um, yeah.
All right, Bayotin.
Uh, Bayotin, I think is I liked Bayotin.
I think
My
she's
opinion.
super underrated for sure.
Yes, very.
Um,
I don't think she. I don't know if people just didn't pull her, and so she wasn't getting played a lot in beta, which I think is very possible. I think she's great though.
yeah,
Thought she was awesome.
I think she's good. I think she's a PvE character, primarily though.
Yes, I would agree. I think she's a PVE character. She does PVE great. I don't think she really has any downfall throughout all of PVE.
mhm.
Um, I'd put her up there in PVE as one of the best pulls to get.
Yeah. So obviously PvE focused. I didn't put her as high as Deeding or Victor, but
Yeah, neither
she
did
is good.
I,
She
but
is good.
she is good.
Crit damage buff, attack buff, insane. It's awesome. Um, just not really PvP viable. Okay.
Yep,
Next, Borg. I don't know how to say his name.
Borgnay, whatever. Yeah, not sure. Not sure how you go about his name, but yeah, I don't know a whole lot about him.
Hmm.
I kind of skipped over him. So
Um,
I think he was more of a PvP character. So I'm not sure how much you saw him. Yeah.
yeah, he is definitely more PvP focused. You're gonna have characters in that just do his job. He's a damage dealer, right? He's a bruiser, so he's gonna scale his HP off his attack, um, and so he's gonna end up with, I don't know, 20k plus HP, bunch of attack, can't crit, blah blah blah. But he does a lot of damage. His multipliers are really high to compensate. He's really easy to build, which is great. Which probably keeps him from being a mid tier unit, honestly. But yeah, his primary role would be PvP DPS for you.
Okay. Yeah. So I threw him in PvP focus. That's just kind of where I saw him at.
Yeah, I mean he can get you through some stuff. Like he can be your DPS on Doki Doki for at least a while, but eventually you're not going to want him to be your primary DPS in Doki. He just won't be able to keep up. Um, okay,
Next one is Kachi in his other form, like the guard form or whatever they call it.
yeah,
Um, I rolled him. I didn't build him at all. I thought he was trash. Just my opinion.
yeah.
I
Um,
don't like him.
I think in theory he has a role somewhere, but I agree with you. He's due to trash can. His saving
He's
grace
a
is that
deep.
he's base 115 speed. So you
Yeah,
could theoretically race Marvels and get an immunity up before like Marvel goes if you want to race. Um,
the
but
problem
that's
is that
really
he's a
it.
debuffer, and I don't see you playing him in PvP at all. And so you're talking about PvE mainly, and in that instance, I'm picking Marvel over him any day. So
Oh, he's garbage in PVE.
trash.
Yeah. So we'll just
Yeah.
do trash can. Solence, I
Yep.
can't say anything on Solence. Didn't play her.
Same. Tenant player.
Uh, then we have
Chiaki.
Chiaki and Chiaki the Echo. So regular Chiaki due to trash can. Um,
Yes.
in
Due
my
to
opinion,
trash. I
there's
didn't
other
play
healers
Echo.
that are better. The
I didn't play
Echo.
Echo, so couldn't tell you.
So the Echo is the main reason that I think Freya is mid. She basically does Freya's job. She's essentially the SR version of Freya, and I think she's PVE focused primarily. So I would put her there. If you get her, you're not going to be mad. If you get her, you have absolutely no reason. If you were already thinking of pulling on the Freya banner, now have zero reason to pull on the Freya banner, in my opinion. So I'm gonna put her in
Okay.
PVE focus. She is pretty good she's a really good buffer, and she does a lot of turn meter boosting for your team.
Uh, Dinah is next, which is an interesting one.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Um,
go
I
ahead.
would put her in PVE focused for sure. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much play she got in PvP. Like I said, anyone that's listening, preference, I didn't play PvP much in the beta. I played mostly the PvE content. And in my play of Dinah, I think she's viable. Um, Not super huge fan of the character in my own personal preference, but yeah, I'd throw her in a PvE focused character. I don't think you're upset if you get her. There's obviously probably better picks out there. I don't know where I'd put her based with Echo. Um, I think just for the time being, I'll probably put her behind Echo just because I don't know enough between the two.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just where I put her. So I'd put her probably below Echo and PVE focused.
I was not a Dyna believer until my union buddy showed me the light. uh, I'm struggling here to put her either above Rosa in Great Everywhere or at the top of PvE. Um,
Really? You think that good? I mean, maybe I just didn't build her right. Like you said, I just
mhm,
wasn't a huge believer. I played her some,
mhm,
an okay amount, not a ton, and swapped off her. So
yeah,
if you have more, if you have a clearer picture or something I
yeah,
don't know, I'd love to hear it.
yeah. At least in PvP, on the PvP side of things, she is a great follow up to your opener. So you run Marvel, push him back. You have Dinah go next. Great debuffer. I mean, she's gonna amp the damage that you put out. So, I mean, in all reality, she's best used as a cleaver. Uh, but um, yeah, I mean, she's probably mm, the second or third best debuffer in the game, in my opinion.
Really? Okay.
She's
Interesting.
amazing in PvE. She does Termaton. She does Aurora. She does Nico Nana if you want her to. Like she can be used everywhere. And then again, my my union buddy, he actually did better than me. He got top 20, and uh, he used Dyna everywhere. It was on his defense team. Um, he used it in PvP or RTA. I mean, um, so she's good. If you invest in her, she's really good, and I think she's definitely worth early investments on your account, especially with Leanne. Um,
Okay.
her and Leanne will get you as far as you need to go in Terramonton, and then once you're done with Leanne, and um, then you drop her, she can stay and be part of your Terramonton team with Victor, um, and then yeah, I mean she's got PvP use too. I would put her in great everywhere. I think I'd put her just below Leanne.
Okay. Next we have both versions of Dorothy. I think they're both trash.
Yep.
Those
Um,
are those don't really need much explanation. They're
nope.
just not great.
Nope. Um, let's just do all the dot characters. Bang 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 because it's really easy. They're all dependent on each other, in my opinion. They're PVE focused units, and if you get all of them, uh, you will be able to clear the hardest difficulties on any PVE content there is. They take quite a bit of investment, but that can literally be your team for, I think, everything but maybe Doki Doki. And that's it. That's the only thing that they possibly can't get you through on the hardest difficulty of the game. Do I recommend re-rolling for them? No, because your progression will be slow if you invest in them too early. So the comp is Dark Sonya, Fangus, Obel, and who's the other one? I think the last slot is dependent on what you need. Um, Usually I see a lot of depending on what you're fighting. It could be a stripper, um, could be Heinrich, um, could be Viper, depending on who you want to build. But that's the core of the team is those three. I think their only use is PVE. I don't think you can get any PvP use out of them.
Okay, so when you're talking Sonya, for example, you're saying both versions of Sonya. You're saying Sonya and Sonya the Withered. You'd both put into PVE focus.
No, just the Dark Sonya goes in PvE focused. And since we're on the subject, I think Sonya goes in Great Everywhere, right below Ling Lo. She's the
Okay,
second best
interesting.
healer in the game. And I mean, that's really the only reason she's up there. If there was other SSR healers, then she might not
They'd
be
probably
there.
be
But
over. Yeah.
um, yeah,
Um. All right. Did you play Hellkit at all?
not really. But I do know what he does. And I know the use case for him. And
Okay.
he's great everywhere. Probably below Rosa. So he's a support. He's gonna give you immunity buff, and a big shield, a big fat shield. That's based on his attack. So he's another one that's really easy to build. It's very linear, um, but just for the simple fact of his ultimate, great everywhere. I mean, that's pretty much all that really needs to be said. He grants a shield that gives you immunity while it's up. That alone is great because there's just not enough cleansers or immunity buffers in the game currently.
Mhm. Okay.
Um,
Next.
who
Hmm.
are you looking at?
I'm just trying to figure out where I want to go next from here. Really.
I mean, we can easy.
Hoyan, we can't really talk about much, right?
Yep. So she just goes in the can't
Yeah.
speak. Um, this
I'm trying to see if there's any more here because I think we're starting to get to the point where it's a
yeah
lot of these, if not even just the rest of these, I really didn't play just because
yeah
obviously I couldn't pull every character that there was within the beta
yeah.
time.
Uh,
I
you can
didn't
just
I
go ahead
didn't
and
whale
put
out.
you can put Kazuyo the Revere. I didn't play her, but you can put her in PVE. She's the best Kraken roll for Doki Doki there is. And if you get her and you want to farm Doki Doki, Kazuyo is the best in slot for that role. The other
Okay.
Kazuyo can't speak on. Just gonna put her in that tier. Um, I did try a little bit of um, Chloros. I think he's mid at best. Probably looking at doo doo trash can. Like he's just. I'm gonna put him in doo doo trash can just because he basically fills the same role as Deeding and Victor, and they just do it better.
Okay.
Can't speak
Um,
on Kloss, but based on her kit, she should be good. Um, I can't speak on it.
okay. Yeah, I think the rest of these going through and looking at them, I don't think I can really confidently speak on any of the rest of them, at least from my view. I know you obviously played a lot more than I did.
Yeah, it's all right. I can
Um,
kind of quick bang these out because I don't have a lot to say on them. Lilith, can't speak on her. I pulled her, but I didn't build her, so I don't know. But she is a good debuffer from my understanding. Um, What's
I'm
the
actually just
blue?
gonna put the rest of these in can't speak on for me.
All right. What's the blue-haired chick's name? Mia. I tried her. I didn't like her. So I'm gonna just put her in mid because she is a sustain unit. But I did not like her at all. Um, then we got the Aboro. Uh, she's trash can. Um, in my opinion. Um, then we have Rahu. Rahu is just mid to me. I didn't play him myself, um, but I just based on his kit, based on what I saw in PvP, just doesn't really do enough. Um, yeah, I'm not impressed by Rahu at all. Romoka, she is going to go probably just because of the content she's good at. I'm gonna put her right over. No, actually, she's at the top of PVE focused. She is the best character that you could pull to farm Doki Doki. Um, she's the best DPS for Doki Doki. So would not uh, would not fault you for picking her as your selector if you don't pull her from permanent summons. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, the which one's which? Which Rin is which? So I did try Rin. Um,
I lied too. I realized that Valerian's still in the lineup, so let me know when you get to her. I do have some stuff to say about Valerian. I'm
okay,
not gonna place her, but I do have some stuff to say.
yeah. Um, so regular Rin, bubblegum Rin. I did try her. I think she's mid. Um, primarily, if you are gonna use her, she's PvP mostly, in my opinion. If you're trying to do like a turn two style game, I just I didn't have the gear to really make her great. And even with the gear that I did have, I thought she was just kind of okay. Tia, great everywhere. She will fall off later on for you, but she'll carry you so far that it literally doesn't matter. And she is the best character to play turn two with. So she is great everywhere, and I would put her probably like I'm gonna put her just ahead of Rosa. Um, I played my playthrough without her, so she's not required by any means, but she does make the game infinitely easier to play. Um, she's who I would probably recommend most people make as their selector if they don't pull her on permanent. Uh, just because of how easy she makes the game, she can be your primary Etherina defense character. And I mean, she's just gonna. I mean, if you get her, if you get these three, the two healers um, and her, I mean, you're 3/4 of the way to your tank down team, your turn two team, and those three. I mean, she's basically unkillable. Um, and then we get to Tsukiyomi, and I think Tsukiyomi is super slept on. Um, I personally would put her at the bottom of Great Everywhere. Now, that's me not playing her, but I looked at her kit. I've seen runs. Um, she's a defense scaling support character. I am hoping that I can make her my selector summon or I pull her on my permanent because I think she's so good. She's good in Doki Doki. Um, she's got a great typing for Nico Nana and Aurora as well. Um, and so those are the main three things that I want to farm in my progression. So she could go a long ways in me building just one team that does everything, right? So I think she's super slept on. I'd put her up there for sure. And then that brings us to Veronica. Is that her name, Veronica?
The SSR, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Uh, we'll do that one last since you have her. I have Viper here as well, and Viper is not great
Well, I
everywhere.
have I have Valerian, not Viper. Valerian,
Yeah, you
purple
have
hair
yeah
girl. She's an SR. Yeah.
Valerian, purple haired girl.
Yep. Yep. Purple and like white
Oh,
hair,
she's a light
short.
unit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then I had two more before her. Um, I think her name is Veronica, the red haired girl. I think she was nerfed too hard, and I think she's just mid. Viper is not necessarily great everywhere, but he's not PVE focused. If anything, he is PvP focused with a niche in PvE on the immunity bosses where you need a stripper. Um, yeah, I put him in PvP focused. Good unit to build, mitigator. I think the only damage mitigator other than Tiamat, who doesn't really mitigate damage, she just damage shares. So yeah, I think he. I don't know. They're both used. Whichever, whatever. Um, I think it's PvP focused, and at some point you're gonna want to build Viper, just probably not right away. And then now we
Okay.
have your character.
Valerian. So I pulled Valerian. I waited way too long to look at her kit and look anything up about her. Um, and I realized way too late that she is super viable and I think a great everywhere character. I would put her over Leanne even. She is amazing. I didn't get to full builder and I'm super bummed about it. Um, she's awesome. Like she just is. She's great. I think she's super slept on. Um, yeah, her kit's great. I don't think that you like super speed her. I think you probably want her at like 2 or 3. She has an invincibility that also does a heal over time. That's super strong. It's called Bubble. It's wonderful. It just I don't know. Yeah, you don't need to depend on like a healer quite as much with her because of that. She can do a sleep, which is great, and also buffs,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. And then her one is just a single damage, just kill or just a single damage attack. Um, it's awesome, and it also afflict what's the word inflicts slumber on enemies, which is great too, right? For getting a sleep off, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's just super versatile in my opinion. She does everything really well, right? So she has um, her buff, which gives like attack and defense, and it gives attack, defense, speed, and crit up
Mm-hmm.
across the board, which huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it also you got to be careful with it though, because it also does an HP redistribution across all of your characters currently.
Mm-hmm.
So say you have one that's super low that's being targeted. I imagine in PvP this would be really good. Say you have someone that they're like targeting heavy. If you have her in your lineup, you
Mm-hmm.
run her ult, her skill 3, and it redistributes HP evenly across all of the characters on your board. So say you have 4 out there that are full HP, super healthy, and you have one that they're about to take out because they're just doing like single target stuff. You run her skill 3 and almost everyone's back up to full HP again, or at least like 3/4 health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super strong. Her bubble then at that point can heal herself back up. Not a problem at all. Um, and then obviously your skill 1's just a skill 1, right? It's going to do damage, but it also inflicts that slumber, which helps apply sleep for that debuff, which is just nice to have there in the background as an added bonus. I would put her great everywhere over Leanne even. I think she's super strong. I'm gonna definitely play the crap out of her in live. She will probably be one of my top characters when it comes around. I'm assuming. We'll
Mm-hmm.
see though.
Cool. I did not play her. The only experience I have is cleaving her, so she didn't really get to do much when I did play her. So that's unfair to her because Marvel is so good right now, and nobody farmed immunity. So, um, yeah, it just wasn't really fair. So I don't really have any thoughts on her kit, um, but it sounds
Yeah,
like
I
she has some good use case.
I threw in can't speak on just because I don't want to say anything too much since I didn't give her a fair chance and didn't get to play her quite enough. But
Hmm.
I think that come live and when we revisit this a month and a half from now, I think she'll be up there in the top in the grade everywhere with some of the others, and I think she may even replace some other sports
Yeah,
in some lineups depending on builds. Obviously, she seems great. Her kit's awesome. So
cool,
that's what I had to say about that.
nice. I can't argue with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, sounds good.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. You may in the future.
Yeah. Um, okay, so now that we have this kind of here, just kind of to wrap it up, I did want to kind of go through and just kind of like, what am I looking for when I start re-rolling? I don't know if you're gonna re-roll or if you're gonna stick with what you get, but
Not sure yet.
yeah, I will re-roll. I'll stream it. I'll go until I have something satisfactory, but I'm not, just because I'm re-rolling doesn't mean I'll be free to play. Just want to caveat that. Just know that I think the best start to the game is re-rolling, because you can't guarantee anything. Even if you whale out, you could still not get a lily or something. Um, so these top two are my number one priorities. I will not keep an account that doesn't have one of those two on it. Marvel is probably up there as well. If I were to like rearrange this list on who I want to prioritize, um, getting, personally, I just like Heinrich more, so I would probably say that I would want Heinrich over Lily. But if I got a good Lily account, I'm not gonna re-roll for Heinrich, just because I like him more. So these two are interchangeable. I'd probably drop him down. Um, I would probably. She has to be up here. I mean, like, even more so than probably Marvel. Right? She's free, so she's gonna be at the bottom, obviously. She's free. And then these two are probably interchangeable. I really hope that I get Tia in the permanent summon, but if I don't, I'll probably pick her. Um, but I'd like one of these two, if not both, as well. So one of these, and ideally one of these, um, but probably like in more realistic terms, one of these four plus these here. So that's kind of how I would probably prioritize it. But we'll see what I get.
Yeah, that's fair. As far as my roles go, like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna reroll yet or not. To be honest, I'm just kind of lazy. I don't know if I want to go through it. Um, I will say that if I don't get a Lily or a Marvel, I really want to say if I don't get a Marvel, I'm probably rerolling even.
Yeah,
I
Marvel is super
I just
good.
think he's just too good.
Yeah.
I mean I know that we have other people like Heinrich. I know you were gonna want a Heinrich. Heinrich to me isn't as big of a deal. I think I can work without him. Um, a Lily would be huge in my opinion. A Marvel is a must. Gotta have Marvel. But with Marvel not being as hard to obtain is why I say I don't know if I'm gonna reroll because even if I don't get them super early, just gonna be blatantly clear and honest about it. I'm probably gonna spend some money pretty early on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't know how much. Obviously, we'll see. Probably not a crazy amount,
Yeah.
but I think I'll get a Marvel. I don't think it's gonna be that hard, and so Marvel's gonna be big for me. The other ones that I'm really wanting to see. Let's see here. I have my notes pulled up. I've taken notes about like kind of what I'm looking for and what I want to do.
Keep talking.
Didding.
Keep talking. I gotta go get my baby quick.
Yep, you're good. Didding is going to be one that I'm looking for pretty early on as well. I think he's going to be easy to obtain. Um, yeah, I'm really looking for Ditting. I'm gonna mute him really quick just because he's echoing. There we go. But yeah, so Ditting's gonna be one I'm looking for early on. Marvel's gonna be one I'm looking for early on. Those are obviously not huge hard picks to get. As far as my guarantee SSR goes, what am I picking there? And what? Yeah, I don't know. Um, it's kind of a hard pick. Heinrich, I think, is probably a good option. I don't think you can go wrong there. Or if you have a Heinrich, then I think getting the Lily isn't a bad option. You can't really go wrong there. Um, is there any others I would really throw in there? Obviously, I wouldn't go for Afraid, depending on Hoyen's rework and stuff, and we'll see what her kit and stuff looks like after the fact at live. If she's comes out with live, then maybe her. Um, if it's how she was previously, then I think it's a no brainer. But obviously, we don't know what it's going to be like until they bring her back. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Are there any others out there that I would really say are like you should spend a guarantee on? I think it's like in the within like 40 pulls. I don't really think so. At least in my opinion. I think honestly like those three are probably really what you're looking for in your guarantee. Either a Lily, a Heinrich, maybe a Hoying. I know Senpai went with a Rosa on his and he wasn't disappointed. I don't know if it's really the play. I don't think it's a wrong move, but um, yeah, I don't really think it's necessarily the play there either. Um, yeah, that's what I'd really say. I didn't play Victor a whole lot, so I can't really speak on a lot of that. If you get him in an early pull, it's great. Valerian is the one that I'm anticipating a lot. I know I talked about that. Seeing her early on will be huge. It'll be really nice to see. I think her kid's great. So, I mean, I'll throw her in and probably start building her. That'll be one that I just have to play with and see how that one pans out. So, I mean, keep up with the streams and we'll obviously come live, keep up with the streams, and we'll be doing streams together through it all. Yeah, I mean, just looking at the tier list, those are really what I'm looking for off rip. Look for one lineup that's solid, right? So if you get a Heinrich or a Lily, if you get both, wonderful. But if you get one or the other, perfect. You're gonna want to get a Marvel. You want to get a Deeding pretty quick early on for your PVE content, which you're gonna farm to help you get gear for your PvP content. Um, yeah, Victor. If you can't get a Deeding, sure. Or if you just like him more, then sure. I'm pretty interchangeable for the most part. Kraken is another one that'd be great to see early on in your polls. I don't think he is as important as Marvel, obviously, but getting a Kraken would be not disappointing for sure. If you pull him and not Marvel, then maybe you don't re-roll, but I still feel like I might re-roll if I don't get the Marvel over the Kraken. Um, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I know we're I know he stepped away. We're pretty much wrapped up, but yeah,
Nice. Nice.
that's just kind of what I'm looking at there. So guarantee SSR pull. Let me unmute him really quick since he's back now. You back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything good? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So I was saying for I'll just kind of recap since you're back. Um, guarantee SSR pull. What I'm looking for, probably either Lily or Heinrich, right? That's I think those are just the options you kind of got to go with.
Mhm.
And then as far as like my early pulls, Marvel's like a must. I'm looking for a Deeding. Deeding's kind of a must for me. If I get a Victor, I probably won't be upset. It's whatever. I can throw Victor in instead.
Mhm.
Um, and then maybe Kraken would kind of be next in the list ish. I mean, maybe he's not really a must, but would be really nice to have.
Yeah, I think I didn't really touch on it before I walked out, but I think Kraken or Kazuya, um, the sleep one of those two is
Yeah,
almost required on a reroll. You need one of the two. Luckily, Kraken is a featured character on the Freya banner, so if you wanted to try to get lucky, dump a 10 pull into Freya banner, get the Kraken that way, you totally can, or you can reroll on permanent and hope you get Kraken plus desired SSR.
yeah.
But one of the
I know
two
me and you have said
is
it.
required.
I know me and you have said it in chats. Permanent banners where all my pulls are going. Just
Yeah, yeah.
that's where they're gonna go. I'm not pulling on Freya banner at all. I have no desire to. I'm not gonna pull on the Freya banner. It's just not happening.
Me either. And you can get Freya from the permanent banner, so that just I mean further incentivizes you to not pull on the Freya banner, in my opinion. I mean, unless that's your character, you want to play that character, you don't want to have an account without that character, then pull on the Freya banner. But if you don't think you need her, then permanent banner is the way to go all the way. Um, do not waste anytime you get the LD um, poles. I don't know. I don't forget what they call them. The little chips. Do not use those
Yeah.
until you have enough for pity. And make sure that you watch some content creator. Doesn't have to be me, doesn't have to be the assistant, but watch somebody that knows what they're talking about before you pull, right? I would even venture to say wait a week and then pull, because you're not going to know, the community is not going to know how good or bad that character is until they're actually in the game. And the worst thing you want to do is save up pity for a character just to find out that that character a week after you got them actually kind of sucks, right? Or is just okay. You want to save those for like the OP characters coming from Epic 7, right? You want to save your pulls for the ML Landies when they come out, when the ML Lunas, the probably the Adventure Ross, but ML Ilanov, like any of those characters that like change the landscape of the game, that's what you're saving those pulls for, and they're expensive. They're
Yeah.
really really expensive.
Very.
You have to grind for the most part. You're gonna have to grind for those in PvP content to get any of those pulls. You'll get the weekly like um, discount price for like 5 or something, or 1 maybe, that you can use your crystals on. But outside of that, you're either swiping or you're grinding in PvP for those. So don't pull on those unless you
Yeah, absolutely.
know for a fact that character is good.
Yeah, like it. Let's say the Freya banner wasn't the first one, and it came out as like the next, the first new banner after live, and I saved up pities from beginning game to wait for that next banner, and I saw her right. Looking at her, I'd be like, oh, she looks sick. Like I want this right now. I'd pull and pity her, but if I got her after saving up those pities, I'd be kind of upset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd be super happy with that choice. So yeah, you made a great point. Wait a week, see what content creators are putting out, or just watch tournaments, whatever, and see how she's performing,
See what
and
the
make a
community
decision from
consensus
there.
is for
Or
sure.
if you just like, yeah,
If you
or if
like the
if you're just
aesthetic of
playing
the
the
character,
game because you're like, yeah, then go
totally
for
agree.
it. But
Yeah. If that's how you want to spend your pity and you want to play waifu collector, go ahead. Go ahead. But
yeah, do it. Play your game.
yeah.
Um, The other thing is I know you're more PvP focused, at least
Mm-hmm.
beginning comp, especially with rerolls and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a very strong PvE comp. That's my main focus for the first couple days at least, because I'm going to be grinding that PvE content for gear. And if you don't have any good gear, what's the point of having the character for PvP? Just my opinion.
No,
Um,
absolutely.
you're gonna get stomped on, right?
Yeah, your priority should always be whatever whatever gear you want to get. So the unique thing about this game, you have to think about shells, you have to think about modules or your gear. Um,
Hmm.
so that means I, I'll tell you this: all of the shells before Nico Nana don't matter. Um,
Yeah.
you're gonna completely avoid the gold ones, and you're gonna maybe level up just enough purples to get you through Nico Nana, and then you're gonna start doing the Nico Nana fights and the following bosses after. But the shells don't matter until then. So you're gonna want at minimum a Nico Nana farming team, right? So that's why Rosa
Yeah, for sure.
is up at the top. She's one of the best, if not the best, DPS character for Nico Nana. Uh, right, and then um, Doki Doki. Again, we talked about this earlier, but speed set is the universally most usable set. No character is going to be bad on it.
Yes.
Um, and then if you're wanting to play PvP, Bulwark or the immunity set, in other words, is a must. And therefore, um, you're going to want to farm that too. So, um, things that can farm those areas for you is what you're going to want to prioritize first. Get those up and running, and then focus kind of on your your PvP stuff later on once you start grinding the gear and the shells. Um, and that's why you want to pick units that are in the top tier, right, where they're great everywhere, so you can set a defense. Um, you can set a defense and you can farm, right? You can do some of the ETH Arena stuff. You can do a little bit of the RTA. Um, you you don't need to be top 100 in the first season. You probably don't need to be top 100 ever, but as you want to get competitive, you don't need to be top 100 right away. You're probably not going to because there's people that are going to whale, and you're just not going to be able to compete. But um, that's why the characters up
Yeah.
at the top are the ones you
Eventually that
prioritize.
whaling Yeah, eventually that whaling's gonna die out though, right? Just like any gacha. Like I hate to say it, but a lot of people that are gonna whale out are gonna get all these characters, they're gonna play for the first couple months maybe, and then they're gonna get bored and they're gonna move on to the next gacha and they're just gonna wail on that, right? Because they've got all the characters or whatever. Characters aren't coming out quick enough for them to spend all their money on, and they'll get kind of bored. Maybe they'll come back and forth with it, but at the end of the day, you're playing free to play or maybe just an app.
Yep.
That's how I'll be playing. So
Yep.
with your camera done, it's probably a good point to wrap it up. Then I know we got the tier list
Yep.
done here, and
We
we're
got it
just
done.
kind of chatting now.
Kind of blabbering. Thanks for listening to us blabber. For those of you that joined us and are still here, thanks for adding your input, asking questions. Hopefully, we can get more of those in the future.
Yep, and follow, hit the bell icon, always come back, especially once life happens. Me and Senpai are already working out kind of a schedule. We're going to be streaming pretty regularly, probably 3 4 times a week
Yep.
on Etheria, with
Yep.
always all sorts of content, PVE and PvP, and whatever the new metas are. So
For sure.
uh,
Be on
come
the
back to keep up, come back to learn.
Yeah, be on the lookout for some YouTube vids as well. We'll probably start working on those over the next uh, week to try and maybe like lessen the blow of not having Etheria to play until June 5th. So,
Yep, kind of help tide everyone over,
yep.
us included.
Mm-hmm. I'm having
Also
withdrawals.
come back. Also come back for other content, play other stuff too. So,
Absolutely, yeah. So Fridays we'll just be playing whatever the boys want to play. So if you're not, here for
if you're
strictly Youth
not,
Arena, you
yeah,
just want to be entertained, come check it out. The guys are pretty funny. So
yep, yep, a pretty large group of people that jump in and play too, and who knows, come in and chat, and maybe you can jump in and play with us. So,
yeah, absolutely. All
yep.
right.
So that's it.